Hey everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name's Meredith E. Phillips, and I got a surprise in my inbox yesterday. It is currently May 19th, which happens to be the 91st anniversary of the death of T.E. Lawrence of Arabia. So take that for what you will. But more importantly, perhaps, I got my past pages for A Rogue's Guide to Winning a Wife in my inbox yesterday. I was very surprised. My editor had told me that they were going to be in next week. So I've gotten them a week early, which I'm not mad about. I was just surprised. So my whole mindset had to shift for how this week was going to play out. I had planned to really be focused on draft 2 for book 2 and try to, make some good headway in that before getting past pages next week. But now I have the past pages already, and I certainly don't want to waste any time. So I was kind of stressing out last night. I'm glad they came early because the due date for them has not shifted. So I have an extra week to get them done, which is great. Past pages, in case you don't know, I'll put some little screenshots up here for you. This is the final, ultra final pass of the book. I have to read through it one more time, and then I never have to read it again unless I really want to. But the past pages are the formatted pages of the book. It is no longer in a Word document. This is a PDF. And each page of the PDF is exactly how the pages of the book are going to look when it's actually printed in a physical book. So it's very exciting. I think it looks really lovely. I love the fonts that they've chosen. I like the whole layout. I like the little dingbats they picked. And yeah, I think it's really good. So this is solely proofreading, essentially. I'm looking for misspelled words, typos, little things like that. It's also going to 2 other proofreaders, professional proofreaders. So if when this book is published, you pick up a copy and you find a typo or a mistake of some sort, you are going to keep that to yourself. You are not going to email me. You're not going to DM me. You're not going to leave a comment on a video saying, oh, I found a little something that was incorrect. Don't even come. Do not. Because if you've been following along, I have read this book 10,000 times. I'm reading through it one more time. I've had a professional copy edit on it. I've had professional proofreaders look at it. If there are any typos that make it through to the end, which I'm sure there will be, because every published book has typos in it. I don't need to know about it, okay? You're just gonna chuckle to yourself and keep reading, all right? Don't you dare say a single word to me about something that was missed. Oh, anyway, so yeah, this is the final time I have to read through the book, and I am in fact reading through it backwards. So one of the things I've seen, and I maybe should have done this earlier in some previous pass of the book, but I'm doing it this time. So at this stage, again, I've read this book so many times. I've been working on it for 2.5 years. I know the book so incredibly well. And it's easy then, if you're reading through it from beginning to end, to start to kind of glaze over stuff. You sort of read a few paragraphs and you're not paying super close attention. And this is a super close attention kind of read through. So what I've heard a lot of other people do is they read it backwards, essentially. And so this morning I started reading on page 368. I'm basically going paragraph by paragraph backwards, which feels really weird. Why is my hair such a problem right now? Oh my gosh. It feels really weird, but because you then can't get into a flow of the story, it's easier to pay attention to what words are actually there and the, looking for typos and all that kind of stuff. So it's going okay. I did a little chart, obviously. I've got 2 charts actually, but I'll show you the one to start. Here's my past pages. Can you see them? Ta-da! So my goal is to do about 20 pages a day for the next 2.5 weeks, essentially. If I do 20 pages a day, I'll finish around the 4th of June. This is due on June 9th. If I have time and if I have the willpower, I might, after doing it backwards, I might read through it forwards again. Do I really want to do that? I don't know. We'll see how I feel at the end. But if I finish on the 4th, I would certainly have time to read it, you know, from top to bottom again. And then that's it. When I hand this back, I don't have to look at the interior of this book again. Which I'm very glad for. I love this book. I'm so excited for you guys to get to read it next year. But man, I don't want to read it again for like 10 or 15 years. Then on the other side of the past page checklist, I've got book 2, draft 2 checklist. Yesterday also, I finished the notes on each individual chapter. That's where we left off at the end of the last vlog, where I was taking notes on each chapter about what I wanted to change. And what I'm doing now is I'm just trying to like organize some of the notes. It's pretty organized, but one of the things I was doing is, you know, I got to chapter 25 and left a note saying, hey, you need to add information about this element sooner. Well, if I leave that note in chapter 25, that's not going to help me when I'm in the sooner chapters. So I'm looking for those notes that say this something needs to happen sooner or something needs to happen later. And then I'm putting that note in chapters where it could be applied. So I'm going through that and just finalizing all the notes on all the chapters. And then my goal is to start tomorrow with chapter 1 and actually start doing the revisions that I have suggested for myself. So I'm going to be doing revisions on draft 2 and the past pages at the same time. I'm going to kind of treat this the way I did with the copy edits. I'm going to try to get the past pages done in the morning, according to my little checklist, right? What I have to do for the day. I'm going to try to get that done in the morning. For me in the morning, it's dark. There's no distractions. It's just me and my computer. It's the easiest time during the day I have to fully concentrate on something. So I'm going to try to do that at that point. And then later in the day, I'll be able to work on the actual revisions for book 2. Book 2, I kind of bumped up my deadline for myself. I'm not sure how I'm going to do this. I need to talk to my critique partner about what might be best. I was thinking back on what I've done with previous projects, and for both Twice Married and for Rogue's Guide, I was working with different critique partners at the time for those. And when I started draft 2, I forget how far I got into draft 2, maybe like halfway through. And I started sending my critique partners chapters like one at a time when I was about halfway through it. So they were able to kind of get started on reading it and you know, giving me notes back and stuff before I was actually completely done with draft 2. So on my little chart of how I wanted to do this originally, I was going to send my critique partner the full book and ask her to get it back to me in like 2 weeks, which is pretty horrific. She was like, I'm game, I'll do it. But I was like, that's not a lot of time. I'd rather her have more time. So what I'm thinking maybe is start draft 2. And then once I'm through like act 1, act 2, I'll send her like chunks of chapters at a time. You know what I mean? But anyway, regardless of how I end up sending it to her, I do want to have this completed by July 17th. That is a Friday. I changed it from the 19th to the 17th anyway. If I do about a chapter a day from the 20th, starting on May 20th, I'll be finished with it by July 4th. Happy July 4th, I guess. Now, that does not include any kind of extra work that I'll be able to do on the weekends. I'm pretty sure I can get through more than a chapter a day on weekends. I have a 4-day weekend coming up. Yay, it's Memorial Day here in the States. And I have Monday off, and then Tuesday I ended up having a bunch of appointments. I have an appointment in the morning and in the afternoon, and I was like, I'm just going to take the whole day off. So I'll have extra time on that day too to do work. And then I'm also, in mid-June, I'm going on a writing retreat with my literary agency. So I will be out of town for that. And part of the retreat is like concentrated writing time, which is great because I need it. So I'm anticipating getting a lot done on the retreat as well. I'm feeling a little, this feels like, oh my gosh, this is so much to do. But then when I broke it down, I was like, oh, like it's not that bad. I can do that. So it's, I don't know. It feels like a lot because I'm right at the beginning of both of these big projects or big like to-dos. But according to the breakdown, I should be able to do it like with not too much issue. And of course, like the past pages are due June 9th. So those will be handed in, you know, in 3 weeks basically. And once those are done, then I can focus fully on draft 2 for book 2. So anyway, that's the current update. My goodness. I'm excited for book 2. I'm having a good time with it so far. I mean, I've just started. Maybe I'll hate it in like 3 weeks, but I'm pretty sure I won't. It's very fun. I like the story. I like the characters a lot. Again, I think I said this in the last vlog, but it just feels really fresh and new and fun, and I'm enjoying it. So that's going to be it for this first little intro clip. We'll come back a little while later when I'm ready to actually do some work. Oh, and I have, of course, been still listening to The Price is Right. The Price is Right is going to see me through past pages. So yeah, I'm going to put this back up here. And I'll get back to work a little later this afternoon. All right, I'm back. And I remembered at the end of the last vlog, or somewhere in the last vlog, I was like, I'll give you examples of the types of notes I'm taking. So let me give you some examples of the types of notes I'm taking. So one of my notes for chapter 1 is to include a little bit more summary of what happens at the end of book 1. So Rogue's Guide to Winning a Wife is a fully complete story. There's no loose ends in terms of the main couple or anything like that. But book 2 starts during the climactic event of book 1. If you pick up book 2 and you haven't read book 1, you might be like, where are we? Why are we here? What is happening? Huh? You know? So, or if you read book 1 and then you read this one like a year later, you might not remember exactly what was going on. So typically book 2 in a series, whether it's like connected or interconnected or whatever, typically there's a little bit of kind of info dump, honestly, being like, remember what happened at the end of book 1? So I didn't do any of that. I just started the story, pretending like you had literally just finished book 1 2 seconds ago. So I need to have a little bit more context for where they are and what's going on. So I have a note to, you know, address that. That's a slightly, not a big picture kind of thing, but I'll have to add a little bit more detail in here. Then I have other notes like change her dress color. So the heroine, I know exactly what she looks like. I know what her hair color, her skin tone, her height, like all the things. And for some reason in my head, she wears pink dresses. That is her color. It looks great on her, frankly, but she can't be wearing pink in like every scene. You know what I mean? So as I was rereading it, I was like, she's wearing pink in like every scene. You guys, it's a little different. So I'm like, it's just such a simple little thing, but like a little variety, and her dress color would be good. So I'll address that. Then one of the notes that I kind of pulled from later chapters and put into chapter 2 is an issue with the heroine. I'm trying to figure out how to say this without like being spoilery. Way later in the book, like beginning of act 3, the heroine's father questions something. He brings up some qualms. But in chapter 2, it's the mom, the heroine's mom, who is bringing up some questions. And so it would make more cohesive sense if it's the dad in chapter 2 bringing up some questions, and then also he brings up the same questions in chapter 30 or whatever it is, instead of it being the mom in one chapter and then the dad in a later chapter, basically kind of questioning the same thing. Not that they can't have the same opinion, but it would be more cohesive if it's the same character being like, hey, remember this issue we had like months ago? It's still an issue. Then there's also a big issue with the heroine's backstory. The heroine has a best friend, and it seems like the best friend should be aware of this backstory. It's a pretty significant thing that happens in her life, and it seems like something you would share with a best friend. But there is no indication whatsoever in this first draft that the best friend has any knowledge of this whatsoever. So I need to incorporate that a little more in these opening chapters and then throughout Act 2, so that it's clear that this best friend character knows her history and where she's coming from and why she's doing certain things and all that kind of stuff. Chapter 3, I have a note to check to research what kind of horses are needed. Okay, there's a lot of different types of horses. What kind of horse pulls a like giant carriage versus a curricle? Is it the same? I'm pretty sure they used like big horses to pull a big carriage full of people and luggage, right? You need a like big bulky horse for that. You're not going to get like a pony. But a curricle is a really lightweight vehicle. It usually only holds like 1 or 2 people. And you could have like not a pony, obviously, but like a smaller horse. But like, what kind of horse? A mare? I don't know. I don't think you're using like, I don't know about horses, okay? I don't know what, like, can I just say, I could just say horse. The horse pulled it. But I really like being more specific if I can. But I don't know what type or breed of horse would have been employed for this. This is so unimportant, but it's a note. I've also got some mismatch in terms of like minor characters that I've named. I have a whole thing in chapter 3 randomly. I don't know why I decided that this was good, but I could just cut it. Maybe I should just cut it. Anyway, chapter 3 introduces a very minor servant character. Never see him again. Never see him again. And the way he's introduced here makes it seem like, oh, maybe he'll come into play in some way later on. He doesn't. He could be dead. We don't know. So I kind of need to like fiddle with that. Do you want to make him some sort of character that does something? Okay. What does he do? Do we just need to kind of delete him? Fine. Delete him. Chapter 4 is where the heroine gets her invitation to the house party, but it's not clear how she knows the couple who is hosting the house party. Why are they inviting her? We don't know. So that would be kind of nice to nail down. A lot of my notes too are like more of this, like more. Make this part like a little bit lengthier, like just drag it out a little bit more. What does that mean or look like? I don't know. Good luck to draft 2, Meredith, but that note is in here too. Also, apparently my favorite way in this draft to explain that like a character had appeared like at someone's side kind of suddenly is they materialized. They materialized on the front step. They materialized next to, everyone's materializing like we're in Star Trek or something. I don't know why that was my go-to word for this draft, but too many people are materializing in too many different places. So like, gotta cut that. That's probably not an era appropriate word either. Maybe it is, I don't know. I'm also reconsidering a small aspect to the hero's backstory. He has some dirt on another character, and he kind of has a reason for not sharing it, but also like kind of not. And I'm like, I feel like he needs more of a reason to not share it. So anyway, I have notes in here about like, let's maybe tweak this. What kind of options are there? If you were here while I was brainstorming and outlining everything, you might remember that I made up a full list of all the house guests, all of their ages, who's related to whom, who's not related to anybody, all of the things. I have a list of like 24 people. Are half of them introduced in this novel? Nope. We have no clue who they are. And so I don't need to go into huge detail. Obviously, you can't be keeping track of, 24 different characters in every single scene of this house party. But there were some things that I wanted to do with some of these side characters, and I just it just didn't happen. And so I'd like to see if I could incorporate them a little bit more, or at least make it known that they're there, because you really only get introduced to sort of a handful of the house guests, and there's more people involved than just that. Okay, so those are just some examples. Some of them are big things, fixing backstory, making sure characters are introduced. Some things are little tiny minor things like the horse situation. So anyway, hopefully that was helpful / interesting. Not sure, but anyway, I'm gonna get back into this. I'm on chapter 13, and I'm just going through each chapter and seeing, did I have a note in chapter 13 that I needed to do something earlier? So I'm doing that whole thing. So let's make a little headway with that. It's Cooking with Meredith. Can you even see me? Am I even in the frame? Not really. Hold on. All right, that's a little better. Hi, it's Wednesday, my dudes. Wow, it is Wednesday, my dudes. Oh my gosh. This is also like right in my face, but we're just, this is what it is, okay? So, hi. I feel like an absolute zombie. So that bodes well for getting through literally all of chapter 1 after dinner. I don't think so. So listen, I was awoken at 2:30 this morning by a thunderstorm and by my dog freaking out about the thunderstorm. And so we had to go outside to potty, obviously, at 2:30 in the morning. We love that. And then I couldn't go back to sleep. It was still thunderstorming and it was kind of loud, you know, and I just could, it didn't happen. I've been awake since 2:30 this morning. So I got up at 5. I did my past pages. The most important thing, I did the past pages for the day. And I'm trying so hard to go slow. It's so easy to just like read, you know, and then you're not paying attention to, you know, the typos you're supposed to be finding. But anyway, I did that, and then I was still going through book 2 and trying to pull out the various pieces where it was like, do this earlier. So I finally finished going through all those notes, but then after my day job, I had to do some work for this little part-time job I picked up. This part-time job is with my old coworker, actually. She was like, I want to hire you because you're really good at this stuff. And I was like, great. And the hope is eventually this one will turn into my full-time job, because that would be probably a better fit for me. But right now it's literally supposed to be a few hours a week, nothing crazy. At the moment though, I'm doing all of the like new employee training and all that kind of stuff, and I'm doing all of the things for the first time. And it's not that any of the things are hard. Like I filled out some forms today, but like I don't know, like I've just never done it before, so obviously like I'm really slow. I'm trying to find where everything is, fill it in correctly. There's like 10 different versions of the same form. You got to pick the right one, blah, 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 you know. So anyway, it took me like an hour to fill in 2 forms, which was, you know, once I know what I'm doing, I'll be much faster than that. But it's all this like ramp up period at the moment. So anyway, I got all that done, and then it was like, well, now I got to fix dinner because this has to go in the oven for 35 minutes. Speaking of oven, let me turn it on. I've made this so many times, and I still have the little directions up here. All right. So I'm trying to get this in the oven relatively quickly, and then I'll do what I can for chapter 1. I finished all the notes stuff, organizing all the notes, which is good. I did get a little bit of brainstorming done because there was one issue with one of the motivations for the main character. He's holding on to a secret, and I had made up a reason for him to keep it a secret, and it wasn't really a very compelling reason. So I was like, I think I need something stronger than what I have. So I brainstormed a new idea. Is it I don't know if it's great or not. I think that's what I'm going to go with, at least for this draft. I feel like if I want to change it later to something else, if I think of something more compelling, I can just change the backstory. And whoops, I got butter on myself already. Gosh darn it. How? This pan is like 4 inches thick. How did I manage to get all this? It's fine. This is the rattiest sweater I own. It doesn't matter. I brainstormed a new idea for his little backstory there and why he's holding on to this information without telling anyone. So that was good. My little schedule for what I'm supposed to do on which days and how much I'm getting done and all that. My little schedule says I'm supposed to complete revisions on chapter 1 today. Now listen, it's 5 o'clock. I'm cooking dinner. I've been awake since 2:30. I don't know if that's going to happen. I'm not too worried about it. I'll work on it after dinner for sure. But I don't think I'm going to be able to finish. That seems quite audacious. It's okay though. I have a 4-day weekend coming up. So if I can't get to it all today, like I'll be able to catch up and hopefully do extra over the coming weekend. So anyway, that's the current state of affairs. I'm going to get this ready. It goes in the oven for 35 minutes. Oh, I didn't even tell you what I'm making. I'm making tuna noodle cheese casserole, except obviously we are not putting cheese in this nonsense. And also if tuna noodle casserole sounds like, ew, what is that? It's delicious. I don't know what to tell you. This is what my mom made growing up. When I was growing up. She didn't make things when she was growing up. but this was like one of the web family classics. So I still make it, and it's good. It's like noodles with a sauce and tuna, just like canned tuna, tins of tuna, and that's pretty much it. A little Tabasco. I put Tabasco in it. But yeah, that's what I'm making. It's not hard to make. You just have to have like 10,000 pans to make it, of course. So let me do all this, and then hopefully in a little while we'll be back in that office again to revise chapter 1. I looked at it a little bit earlier and I was just like, paralysis, that feeling of, oh no, wait, what do I do? I don't know about words and books and stuff. It's fine, I'll get through it. I just gotta start. Like sometimes just starting is the hardest thing. Like just change something, Meredith, it's fine. So I'll get into it. We'll get into it later, but let me get this in the oven. Also, not to be a tease or anything, but by the time this can of tuna is expired, both of my books will be out. I just need us to note the timing here, okay? It is going to bake for 34 more minutes and it is currently 5:23, which means this is going to be ready almost exactly at 6 o'clock. And of course, at 6 o'clock is dinner time. So it's literally perfect. All right, it is after dinner and I'm back here. It's 6:45. I actually made pretty good progress on this before dinner in that little 30-minute chunk of time I had. I have my little bullet point list of stuff that needs to change in the chapter open on this side in the inspector tab if you're using Scrivener. And what I like to do, instead of deleting bullet points, I like to do the strike through. So I highlight it and then do, what is it? Shift Command hyphen, and it'll strike the text through and like cross it out. That way, I don't like losing the notes. I spent so long doing the notes. So I like keeping those there so I can see like what did I add to this chapter. So I just do the strike through tool to show what I've done or what I think I've addressed. So I'm going to keep going on this. Maybe I'll finish. I'm doing pretty good, frankly. I think I've added about 150 words. Nothing too crazy. This chapter was already pretty chunky. It was at like 2,500 when I started. I've added almost 200 words. Oh well. I am not concerned at this point about making things sound super pretty. I'm not trying to make them sound bad, but I'm not taking a huge amount of time to like make sure the paragraphs like flow together. Blah. I'm not doing that. I'm just shoehorning in information or reactions or more interiority, and we'll go back later and we'll kind of smooth things out. When is later? What a good question. I don't know. I'd love for later to be before I send this to my critique partner. We'll see how this next 2 months shakes out, but it still is pretty clunky. I'm not paying super close attention to that at this point. If I think of something amazing, I write it, but I'm not spending like 5 minutes trying to figure out like the perfect wording, because I just feel like, for me at least, that's a waste of time. So let me get back to this and see how far I can get before I absolutely crash out for the day. Well, hello. It is Friday. Oh my gosh. It's Friday and I've had a headache since like yesterday. So I'm doing fantastic. I didn't vlog anything yesterday. Yesterday was a madhouse. Jade woke up at 4. I don't know why. She was just like whining. Like, okay, it's time to get up. Let's go outside and go potty. I was like, ma'am, it's 4 in the morning. And she was like, it's time to get up. So anyway, I'm not going to go back to bed at that point. So I was up since 4 yesterday. That's when I woke up. And then the whole day was just, I worked like, I don't even know, 14 hours yesterday or something crazy. I did my past pages in the morning, priority number 1, got that done. Did my day job, got that done. After work, I had to do some more work for the little part-time job. That got complicated. It's the task I was given should have been like super quick, pretty easy. But of course, when you're doing it the first time, it was, I didn't have access to certain things. So I had to email to be like, hey, I need to be given access to this stuff. So then I got access to that stuff, and then I started filling things in, and then it was like, wait, I wasn't given the information for this thing here. And then it was like, okay, now I have this information. And then I'd get to another part, and it was like, wait, I don't have the information for this either. So it was just like, it took forever to go through and get stuff done. And then I had a meeting after dinner for the part-time job, and then I was doing more work to try to finish stuff up for the part-time job. Anyway, I barely started chapter 2 last night at like 8 o'clock. I did not finish chapter 2. Chapter 2 kind of has 2 parts to it, I would say. I got through the first part. This morning, we actually slept until 5. Well, technically it was 4:58 when Jade started whining, but I'm counting that as 5 o'clock. And I got up, did the past pages for this morning, did a little more work on chapter 2, did not finish it, and then I just finished my day job. And now it's 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and I'm a chapter and a half behind where I wanted to be. But as previously stated, my head, I don't know, I've taken a lot of ibuprofen the last 2 days. I really don't want to take any more. I'm so tired. So anyway, I also, somewhere in there, when did I even do that? I don't remember, but I also managed to get the first portion of this vlog edited, and it's basically 30 minutes long already. And my original plan, I don't know why I thought this was going to work, but the original plan I had was to vlog a little bit during the week and then also include the long weekend. I don't want to do an hour-long vlog. I'm sorry. I know some people really like that, but that's just such a hassle to edit because I watch them through all the way, like multiple times as I'm editing. So I was like, I can't do an hour-long video. So anyhow, this video is going to be done. Come back next week for the weekend, the long weekend vlog. 4 days. I should have 2 complete days where I really don't have to do anything outside the house. The other 2 days, I have some other things going on, but it's not like it's the whole day. So I should have a lot of time to kind of catch up on my little writing schedule for where I want to be in this draft too. Because right now, I'm a chapter and a half behind, which I don't like, but we'll catch up. We'll get some work done over the long weekend for sure. Come back next week and see what I was able to do, or maybe on Friday. I have this random video because this was supposed to go up on Friday, but if I post this one on Friday, then the long weekend vlog won't be until like 2 weeks later, which kind of is messy. So maybe you'll get this as a Tuesday video. I don't know. It doesn't matter. Anyway, stay tuned. Stay tuned for a long weekend video where we'll hopefully get a crap ton of work done. But for now, if you liked this video, this vlog right here, please do click the thumbs up button for reasons. You don't have to, but you could. If you haven't subscribed, you could subscribe. We just hit 4,500 subscribers, which is pretty fun. I guess it doesn't really do anything, but there it is. And yeah, I'll see you later. I hope you have a good day. I'm really tired, so I'm just gonna be done. Bye.